Hi, everyone, and welcome to this exciting presentation on API platforms, the evolving journey, how Capital One is paving the way for the future and changing banking for good. I am Rangarajan L, a senior manager with the API platforms team, and I would now hand over to my colleague, Trakic, on how Capital One is evolving in its digital transformation for the past decade. Over to you,
Hi,
Ado.
thank you. Thank you, Ranga. My name is Trakic, and I'm part of the API Platform Services Center of Excellence team in the Capital One. And we'll be talking about a number of very exciting API initiatives within Capital One. But before we start, we would like to show Capital One technology in action. You will find it, I think, very interesting. I'm back. As you can see, nothing happens without APIs. But before we talk about APIs, let's talk about technology in Capital One. Technology is essential to our business strategy. We are using real-time data at scale, AI and machine learning, and the power of a cloud to solve very challenging industry problems and build services and products that really make a difference in millions of people's lives. And in the middle of all this is our APIs. A few words on our Capital One digital transformation journey. And of course, APIs are in the middle of all this and play a critical role in digital transformation. We are the first major bank to fully migrate to cloud. We are undergoing data-driven digital transformation by effectively leveraging technologies such as AI and ML for data insights that can help better serve our customers. Data is being delivered in real time for faster insights, and there is a very strong emphasis on self-service capabilities with built-in governance. We are leveraging technology to change banking industry. Capital One has grown to one of the world's greatest software engineering companies. There is a lot of work around iteration and operation of software that include adoption of microservices, APIs, CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and DevOps. Our applications are fully modernized, cloud native, open API, open source first, with automated testing and deployment. We are focused on standardization and automation of software development and deployment so that developers can focus on a high-value, unique work to ship very high-quality software faster. Our ML applications, API and cloud products are already preventing online credit fraud and empowering partners to innovate with us and helping other businesses harness power of the cloud. And now over to Ranga, who is going to tell us a little bit more about our API platform.
Thanks, Edu. What is our core mindset? We are API first. What do we mean by API first? We start off with APIs. APIs are our building blocks, are our essential Lego pieces which form the entire fabric. A contrast to this would be a code first shop. A code first shop would focus on monoliths and how they can kind of leverage monoliths to achieve a given functionality. But we are a stark contrast. For the past decade or so, we have been API first. What this means is most of our data would be exposed by APIs. We are fully aware of our customers, whether they're internal, whether they're external, or whether they do reach out to external third parties. We organize and discover APIs systematically. This is an extremely evolving journey, the process of discovering APIs. And as technology keeps incrementally or exponentially progressing, our discovery process keeps adapting to this evolving technology. And then there is a lot of emphasis on Capital One for preemptively left shifting our governance processes and being standardized. In many ways, we are a risk avoidance company, being in the highly sensitive financial services space. We also know the security risk of our various API perimeters, and we ensure that the latest and greatest tools are employed to make sure that our APIs and the data it handles are safe and secure for all our consumers. So, in every single way, APIs are the central fabric of our functionality. Coming on to the core tenets or core pillars of what enables an API first mindset. Uh, it's the API lifecycle tool. Every API has a given lifecycle, right from inception, creation, maintenance, as well as destruction, and also enabling the governance and regulatory aspects for the API are a very critical aspect of this lifecycle tooling as well. Making sure that APIs are disciplined in terms of version control, APIs are not redundant, and APIs are consistently maintained is also one of the key aspects of the API lifecycle tool. We have API discovery portals. One of the most important things we ensure at Capital One is to make sure that information is consistently represented, easily discovered, so that we don't have siloed development. If there are common areas of concerns, we have common APIs which can be seamlessly discovered for functionality and which can be reused, so that we don't go about the proverbial reinvention of the wheel. We focus on those aspects which give maximum benefit to our delivery. Now, we have a few uh, strategic flagship products at our end, and one of that is the flagship gateway. The flagship gateway is the gateway which is used to control all the traffic pertinent to Capital One. The traffic flowing inside within the Capital One network, the traffic going outside, and the traffic coming inside as well. So, say for example, if you want to consume like an API, like a Google Maps API, all the entire governance around it, the policy management around it, the routing controls, all that is baked into our flagship gateway. It enables seamless governance, and then it also makes us very competitive because we are so nimble, and then it's like a custom developed product. We are extremely competitive. We are up there competing with all the current big players. Next slide, please. Yeah. Coming on to the ecosystem, if you look at the ecosystem of the API first mindset and its evolution per se, to the left of the spectrum, you have two main players, the producer and the consumer. And these are essentially important, equations in the entire demand and supply management, so to speak. You have producers who actually produce APIs, who actually expose APIs, and they have a distinct life cycle, namely designing, developing, testing, deploying, securing of the APIs, governing, and distributing. And then there is a considerable overlap with the other end of the equation, who are consumers, who in turn discover these APIs, integrate these APIs into their consumption model. They test, deploy, and observe. As you see, there are a lot of overlaps between each of the phases between a producer and a consumer, which is the entire beauty of this process. It's an ecosystem. There is a lot of give and take. You would have producers on one end of the spectrum, and you would have consumers. And then the roles could very well be flipped, where some of the LOBs could in turn consume from the other LOBs who are producing data for them. Making sure that this data is standardized in this ecosystem is such an important part. And the gateway is actually the intermediary here, or I would say in some ways the facade. The gateway would also ensure that a bunch of protocols are supported in this ecosystem. The popular ones you surely would have heard of. REST is the most popular one out there. There are a lot of new protocols which are gaining tactical advantage in the industry, such as GraphQL. And then you have a bunch of niche protocols like GPRC and a bunch of legacy protocols, so to speak, like SOAP for integration with some of the legacy systems which still have some pockets there. Coming on to the security aspects, the authentication, the monitoring, authorization are also some of the concerns which are duly taken care of by the API gateway. So the API gateway is a single system which does the runtime traffic management, the policy control, the policing, so to speak, and to ensure that every single traffic footprint is very well managed in the ecosystem. Next slide, please. Yeah. How do we measure success? How do we measure success of the evolving nature of the API mindset? One of the measuring key points is how strategically enabled we are. So the flagship gateway, how seamlessly it can help to develop new features. Say for example, if you want a new payment feature, if you want a new rewards feature, how are we enabling various consumers to seamlessly produce, discover, consume, and govern APIs and reuse them so that they can actually start achieving their strategic needs? And also monetization. How is this contributing to the actual bottom line? How is it contributing in secure digital products or dashboards for our various partners? How is it clarifying data, cutting the clutter, and making sure that the consumers know exactly what aspects is bringing them value and what aspects is not? These consumers could be various retail consumers, who are actually leveraging CapitalOne's products. And then the most important thing over here is developer productivity. So we want to be nimble. We want to do those actual value adds which matter to the end consumer. To do this, we should make sure that our developers are the top-notch athletes who are actually working on the product, and they are enabled in every single fashion for discovery, reuse, standardization. They should not really have too much of boilerplate concerns when they are actually managing the entire platform and they are developing extensive features. There are specific KPI indicators for all of these for left shift process and ensuring that there is a bunch of seamless discovery done in the metrics. Now hand it back to Ado for the remainder of the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Ranga. Just quick few points on our API journey. Our platform evolved continually. Customer is always our priority, number one. We continuously gather customer input throughout this process. As Ranga mentioned, very important part of our work is to always enable developers to focus to deliver a core business value. We provide a number of API design planning resources to enable easy onboarding, both to API producers and API consumers, with a number of design tools and techniques and CapitalOne API standards, patterns, and guidelines, as well as AI and ML adoption. This is how our enterprise governance evolved throughout the time. We started with the distributed design and centralized governance, but we quickly realized to enable governance at scale, we moved into federated model and the distributed governance. Key components of the governance are our DX, developer experience reviews, producer training, guidelines, standards, continuous coaching, and tools and techniques. And as of late, we are very, very excited to enter the space of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Many of the services are already in production, while some are in a research phase. And here are how AI and ML are stepping up our platform game. We live in a very exciting time where AI and ML are providing endless potential. And why I'm saying exciting is everything revolves around APIs. Here are select areas of key AI and ML research for banking: anomaly detection, behavior models, deep learning for event prediction, large language models, natural language processing, privacy, and accessibility. We wish we have more time to talk about these in detail, but we'll save that opportunity for next time. Again, the emphasis is our customers and their financial well-being. With our help, they can become more financially empowered and better manage their spending. We thank you very much for your attention. Here are our email addresses for any further follow-ups. And I think we can now go to Q&A section. Thanks again.